terrifying story. I work in construction, and not long ago, we were tasked with demolishing an old, derelict temple in Iwate Prefecture. The place had been abandoned for decades, just a rotting shell of a building. We were right in the middle of the teardown when a coworker shouted for me. "Hey, get over here! You need to see this!" I walked over, and there at his feet was a long, blackened wooden box. "What is it?" I asked. "No idea," he said. "Found it in a sealed crawl space deep inside the main hall. We should probably call the management company." The box was about 2 meters long. The wood was ancient, soft with rot in some places. On the lid, there was a strip of weathered white paper covered in faded writing. You could tell the characters were old, archaic. There were even traces of Siddham script, temple Sanskrit, but the paper was so decayed it was barely legible. The only part I could make out said, "July, year of the Taisho Era, through a magical rite, Ryomen Sukuna is sealed within." The box was nailed shut tight so we didn't touch it. The management guy told us he'd contact the former head priest to ask what to do, so we just left the box in the site trailer for the night. The next morning, before I even reached the site, my phone rang. It was the agent. His voice was literally shaking. "About that box, I talked to the old priest. The second I mentioned it, he started screaming. 'Do not open it,' he said. 'He's driving here himself to take it. Just make sure nobody touches it.' A cold pit formed in my stomach. I called my foreman immediately. 'Hey, about that box from yesterday.' 'Oh, that?' the foreman interrupted. 'Those 2 Chinese exchange students, the part-timers? They broke the damn thing open last night. Get down here, now!' When I arrived, a small crowd was gathered around the trailer. The 2 students were sitting on the ground in front of the door, staring into space. They looked hollow. 'These idiots broke in last night because they were curious,' the foreman spat. 'But the problem is what's inside. You want to see?' I looked. Inside that box was something that looked like a human mummy. Its arms were frozen in a bizarre, defensive posture, like a boxer. But the horror was the anatomy. It had 2 heads. At first I thought, conjoined twins. A tragic birth defect, or maybe a very convincing freak show fake. "I don't know if they're in shock or what," the foreman whispered, "but they haven't said a single word since we found them." The students just sat there, looking through us. And the more I looked at the thing, the sicker I felt. 2 heads growing in opposite directions. 2 arms on the left, 2 on the right. Only 1 pair of legs. While we were debating whether to call an ambulance or the police, a car screeched into the lot. An old man, well into his 80s, climbed out, followed by his son. The moment the old priest saw the open box, he let out a harrowing wail. "You opened it? You idiots. It's over. If it's open, it's the end for all of you." He turned on his son, screaming in a thick Iwate dialect. "You promised. You promised you'd move Ryomen Sukuna to the temple in Kyoto. Why is it still here, you fool?" The old man's voice was thunderous. He turned to us, his eyes wild. "Who opened it? Those 2? An hospital won't help them now, but I will perform a cleansing rite for the rest of you." He spent 30 minutes chanting, striking our backs and shoulders with a ritual scroll. It actually hurt. When they finally loaded the box into their car, the old man looked at us one last time. His voice was dead. "I feel sorry for you, but you won't live long." The aftermath was immediate. One of the students died in his hospital bed from a sudden heart attack. The doctors couldn't explain it. The second was committed to a psychiatric ward. 3 other workers collapsed with mysterious, high-grade fevers. As for me, I stepped on a rusted nail that went clean through my foot. 5 stitches. I think about that mummy every night. Was it just a man born with a disability who died full of hatred because of how the world treated him? The temple was near an old Baraku settlement, a place for outcast communities in Japan who were often discriminated against and forced to live in specific areas. Maybe that's part of it. Later, I managed to get the priest's son on the phone. He told me he'd talk, but only once. My father forbade me from speaking of this, he told me. Even a phone call is dangerous. What was it? I asked. Really? It was a man, the son said. In the Taisho Era, a period in Japanese history, 1912 to 1926, he was sold by his starving parents to a Misemono-goya, a traditional Japanese freak show. So he was alive like that? The conjoined heads? Yes. But he didn't become a mummy naturally. He was a Sokushinbutsu, but not by choice. He was forced. Sokushinbutsu are Buddhist monks who underwent a grueling process of self-mummification while still alive to reach a state of enlightenment. The son's voice dropped to a whisper. There was a cult, a dark sect. I won't name them. They may still be active. Their leader, a man calling himself Mononobe Tengoku, bought several people with deformities for massive sums, including those twins. What did he do to them? Have you heard of Kodoku? The jar poison magic? You put 100 venomous insects in a jar, and the last one alive is the curse. Tengoku did that. With people. I felt like I was going to throw up. He locked people in a room? He locked the outcasts in a basement, the son continued. The twins won only because Tengoku had mortally wounded the others beforehand. To him, they looked like the deity Asura. Asura is a multi-armed demigod or spirit in Buddhist mythology, often associated with war and wrath. He saw a sinister divinity in them. Once they were the only ones left, he locked them in a room with no food. They starved. Then their bodies were preserved. That is how Ryomen Sukuna was born, a human curse named after an ancient demon. But why? Tengoku wanted an idol of pure malice. He believed this mummy could curse an entire nation. He filled the mummy's stomach with the ground bones of ancient rebels, people who had fought the emperor and been slaughtered. He wanted to destroy Japan itself, I scoffed. That's insane, is it? Look at the dates, the son said. 1914, the Sakurajima eruption. 1914, the Akita earthquake. 1916, the Great Fire of Hakodate. 1923, the Great Kanto Earthquake. Over 140,000 dead. What are you saying? They say those disasters happened wherever the Ryomen Sukuna was moved. On September 1st, 1923, the day of the Kanto earthquake, Tengoku killed himself right before the first tremors hit. He slit his throat in front of the mummy. He left a suicide note written in his own blood. Japan must be destroyed. There was a long silence on the line. Where is the box now? I asked. I don't know, the son replied. I haven't been able to reach my father for days. He told me strange cars were following him after he left your site. Why tell me all this? I whispered. The son chuckled darkly. Remember what my father said to you? It's a pity, but you won't live long. Then he hung up. I haven't been able to get through to that number since.